Hi and welcome to Buildon Ideas Institute of Designing, and this is Six and Sunny. In this tutorial, I'm going to discuss about a modern kitchen which will be modeled in Blender 2.8, which is a free and open source software, and you can use it commercially free of cost. Now, this tutorial is going to be basically, I'm going to discuss about the basic measurements which can be used in kitchen designing, as well as how to model a kitchen in Blender 2.8, as well as how to give the lighting for that. So let's go into the tutorial. So I'm just going into the details of this kitchen. If you see the image of this kitchen, you can see there is a tall unit on the left side. You have an island part in the center, and then on the right side you have the hood and hob. On the left side you have an opening to the sit out, and then you have a beautiful scenery on the left. So you also have a ceiling on the top, also a hanging light on top of the island kitchen. Now, when coming to the plan, you can see there's a tall unit on this side. You have an island in the center. You have the hood and hob, a sink on this side, and also one more sink on the island. So this is basically the plan of the kitchen. You have a window here and the sit out here, and it's a beautiful scenery on this side. So this is basically the plan. You have the kitchen of size 4200 millimeters by 3600 millimeters. So this kitchen is basically a spacious kitchen, and you have all the facilities inbuilt in this kitchen. So let's go into the tutorial. Now what I'm going to do is I am importing this plan from Autocad to Blender. So when going into Blender, what you have to make sure is that you have to make sure that the units are set into millimeters, because we are doing interiors and it's very important to have it in millimeters for the precision. So let's check the units. So I've given the units in millimeters. So what you do is, when you import into Blender, you have to make sure that we are importing this file into Blender, and the dimensions in Blender is also in millimeters. So let's just open Blender. So coming into Blender, what you have to make sure is that this is a new file which I've taken in Blender. Let's take a new file. What you can see is you can see a cube as well as some camera and lights in the scene when you first open Blender. So just delete that, and then make sure that in the scene's context, you have to make sure that the units are set to millimeters. So I'm setting it into millimeters, and then just give a save, so that this file has been saved in whatever name you want. So I'm just giving it as kitchen interiors. I'm just saving it. Now I'm going to import the plan into Blender 2.8. So I'm just clicking on import and then Autocad Dxf. So when you first import, you can see this import Autocad.dxf add-on. So you have to just give the add-on by going into edit, preferences, and then click on the add-ons to make sure that you just give us Dxf. You have this import option available for importing Autocad Dxf files. So just tick this and then close this, so that you have this option available in the import. So just click on Autocad Dxf, and then you have to make sure that when you see the unit scale, the coordinates are assumed to be in meters. Deviation must be indicated here. So first, initially when you import something into Blender from AutoCAD or Nanocad or whatever drawing software you use, you have to make sure that you have to convert into millimeters while importing. So you rescale it. So to do that, you have to convert this millimeters, in this meters into millimeters. So 1000 millimeters is 1 meter. So you have to convert it by giving 0.001. So 1000 millimeters is 1 meter. So we have just given 0.001 to convert it into millimeters. And I'm clicking on the plan, and then I'm importing it. So the plan is here in Blender 2.8. Now what you have to do is we have to create the wall for this. So in order to create the wall, I'm just going into add and then go into single vertex, which is again available in the add-ons, extra mesh. So to get the single vertex option, if it by default only these options are available. To get the single vertex option, you have to go to edit, preferences, and then click on extra. you have to tick these options for add mesh extra objects. You have to just give the tick and then close it. You have all the option to have this add mesh and then single vertex. So add single vertex, you have to make sure that you are in the vertex mode, and then the vertex which is come as in the center near the cursor, just moving into this position. In order to move and snap it to here, you have to make sure that the snap is on, and in the options you have to have it as vertex. So the vertex option in the snap is selected, and then just click on G for grabbing it and then move it to the point where you want it. So I'm just starting from here. I've just moved the vertex to this position, and then I'm moving it to create these three walls. Only these three walls I'll be creating right now. This wall will be left off because I don't want it in the camera. I don't want this portion to hinder the camera. So I'll just make the wall now. I'll just click on E to extrude the vertices. In order to get a position here, we have to just click on E, and then you have a vertex here, Y, so that it is in the straight line, and then click here to snap it here. And then you can have it like this. I'm just extruding it here, extruding it here, extruding it here, here, and then here, here. Now what I do is, like, I'm going into the face mode by clicking on 3 to get the face, and then I'm just selecting A, and then give F to have the fill of it, and then I'm extruding it to 3000 millimeters. Now I have these three walls ready as 3000 millimeters height, that is 300 centimeters or 10 feet height. So we are having this wall as 10 feet height, that is 3000 millimeters. Now I am proceeding with the tutorial by giving this window portion out here. So I'll be doing a boolean to get the window portion. So what I do is, like, I'll just go to the object mode, go to the top view, and then activate this X-ray mode and into the wireframe, and then I'm just going to boolean this part. So what I do is, like, I add a plane, and then I just move it here. The length of this window is 2500 millimeters. So what I do is, like, I click on the N to get the properties, and then I'm just moving this position to this position, that is the length of this in Y direction to 2500. So I'm getting the position. I'm just dragging it by moving it like this, slightly moving so that it is outside. Now I have the window positioned. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, like, I'm just going to extrude this box as a box by clicking on the face mode, and then click here on this face, and then extrude it by 2300 millimeters, because I am going to create a sill out here by around 100 millimeters. So I'm just moving it above by giving G, and in Z direction I'm going to give 100. So now it's positioned 100 millimeters above. By clicking on this, I'm going to do a boolean now. By going into the modifiers, I'm clicking boolean, and then with the object selector, just select the box. It's boolean, give apply, and then remove this. So you have a sill level of 10 centimeters, and then the window position is ready now. The next part I'm going to do is, like, a kitchen counter, the base unit, and then I'll do the tall unit, and then the island. So first I'll do the base unit. So in order to do that, I'm just going into add single vertex, and then go single vertex. In vertex mode, just click G and then move into position. Just click on A and then give F so that it is filled. And then usually what you do is, like, the counter, base counter height should be around 85 to 90 centimeters. So just click on extrude and then give 85. In this case I'm going to give 850 millimeters, so I'm just giving minus 850. So this is the height of the counter, base counter. Now you have to make sure that the counter position you have a skirting out here, and then you have the pullouts and the shutters out here, and then you have what you have here is like you have a hood and hob out here, and then you have a sink coming here. So I'll go into the detailed part of the counter later on, and now I'll do the tall unit portion. Now I'll just click on add, then I'll go into the single vertex once again, and then I'm going to grab it into this position, E, E, E and E. Now I'll just extrude it by going into 3AF and then click on extrude. I'm just going into 2400. I'll click. So in the tall unit portion, I have a fridge out here, I have a microwave oven out here, and you have the ladder unit on this side. So I'll just move this portion to around 60 centimeters to this side, 65 centimeters to give a small gap for the fridge. So I'll just move in the X direction. I'll just move it by 65 centimeters, 650 millimeters, to make sure that the fridge fits in this position. Now I'll just give a Control R, and then I'll just position it somewhere around here, and then I'll just select this face and give an extrude by minus 650, so that it will become the top of the fridge, top portion of the fridge. Now this is the basic model of the counters, and then now I'll have the counter in the center, the island portion. So I'll just add again, in this case I'll just add a plane out here, and then I'll grab these positions into position, adjust into position, and then I'm going to extrude this face by again 850 millimeters. Now I'm just having only this portion, because this portion will be a kind of a extruded portion below which we have the chairs. So it will be in the full box will be only on in this portion, where we'll have one sink out here. Now what I do is like I just select this portion, and then I'll just extrude by 5 centimeters or 50 mm, and then I'll extrude once again by this face to this position. So I'll just click on E, and then I click here. So we have it like this. Now I'll have one more extrude by 50 mm again, extrude 50 on all the sides, extrude by 50, and on this side as well. All the sides I have extruded to 50 millimeters. Now you have the island kitchen in position, island part in position. Now let's do the detailing. So in order to do the detailing, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to do the tall unit first. I'll select that. I'll just remove this edge by giving dissolve edges. That is gone. Now I have two portions out here. So before that, what I do is like I'll just select this face. So this face is selected. I'm just taking a copy of that by clicking Shift D, clicking Escape, and then clicking on P to separate that from the other model, selecting that face, so that object, and then I'm going to split it into two to get two portions. Okay, now what we do is like selecting this face, I'm just clicking on Control R, and then I'm just giving a separation here. Now you can see that I've made a segment out here, and then what I do is like I'll just make this dimension in as 400 mm and this as 600 mm. To do that, we'll just click this and then click on G, and in X direction I just move it by I have to position it into say 400 mm. So what I do is like I'll just position it Now it's 410 mm. I'll just click on this, and X direction I just move it by 10 mm. So this becomes 400 mm now. And if you see, now this is 600 as well as the other one is 400 mm. Okay, now what I'll do is like I'll just split these two into separate by giving a small 5 mm gap in between. So in order to give a small 5 mm gap, what you do is like click on bevel edges, and then in this one we just give 5 mm. So just have 5 mm gap, and then or maybe 3 mm, it's too much, 3 mm gap. Now what you do is like just select these faces and click Ctrl I to get an inverse selection, and then delete it, delete the face. Now what happened is like you have two shutters in position. Now I have to again split this to have the holes in between to have the microwaves and oven. So I'll just split it, Control R on this, and then I'll do two splitting. The first one I have to have, I'll just click on G, and then I'll have it around 900 mm. So it has become 900 mm here. You have a 700 mm here, and then on top you have another piece. So we need a 60 out here, 600 mm out here. So again I'll just select this, and then I'll just move in Z direction, and I'll make sure that it is positioned in 600. So now it has become 600. So we have at the bottom we have 900, then a 600, and then we have an upper portion, one more shutter on top. Now what I do is like I'll just remove this portion. This face is not required because we are having the microwave positioned in between. So I'll just remove this face, and I have to have an opening in between. So instead of removing this, I'm going to give an insert of 20 mm. That is to make sure that there is a face, and then I'm going to extrude this. So I'll just select these faces, selecting these faces, and I'm removing it. Delete faces. Now this portion is a separate piece. What I do is like I'll just select only this face, and then click on P to separate this piece. So this piece, this piece, this piece, and this is separate right now. Now I want to give a boolean into this so that there is an opening in here to keep the oven. Select this face and then extrude by 560 millimeters, which goes inside. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'll just position slightly in the Y direction outside so that there are no issues in giving a boolean. Now I select this object, and then I'll do a boolean out here to make sure that the microwave fits inside. Now I'll just click here, and then I'll just do a boolean, and then select this object, this boolean now, apply, and then I'll just select this and delete. So you have the position of the microwave inside. Now what to do is like we'll just give a thickness for this object to have the shutters. Select that, and then select the faces, and then give an extrude 20 mm. So you have a 20 mm thickness for the shutters. Now it's ready. So the tall unit is almost ready. You have to make sure one more thing is there. You have to move this part. There should be a skirting piece coming out here. So just move the bottom part by clicking on the vertex, and then I'm going into the X-ray mode. If you select, you get. If you don't select the X-ray mode, you won't be able to select this back vertices. If I select like this and click and drag, you won't be able to select the back vertices. So click on this X-ray mode and then select like this. Drag it and select it, and move it in. Grab it in Z direction by 100 mm. So now you have the skirting portion also ready. Okay, now coming to the counter portion, the base counter. Let's do a division split out here as well as here to give the shutters and drawers and all those stuffs. Here we have a sink and here we have a hood and hob, so we have to do the booleans for that. Also we have to give the shutters for these portions and the drawers. So first I'll do this portion to give the shutters. So I'll just split it. The total length, if you see, it is around 1950 millimeters, 1950 millimeters out here, and you have what you call this dimension to be 3000 millimeters. So we have to divide these into shutters and drawers. So in order to do that, what you do is like just go into this and then click on edit mode and then select this face, then shift D to take a copy of that and then click on P to separate it. Now go to the object mode, select only this object and then again go to the edit mode. Now what you do is like click on Ctrl R to have the splits, have two splits, and make this portion to be 45, and then you have a 900 and then you have a 600. So for 450, 900 and then 600, that is the division I am going to give. So in this 900 I will be having two separations as well. The top portion will be a fixed portion and this will be a drawer kind of a portion. Since this sink is coming in this position, so we have to have the splits in that way. And in this corner we will be having a corner unit, so for that we need a 45 or 450 millimeters. So all these are separated right now. I'll just select this face, this face, this face, this face, and then do an extrude by say 20 mm. Okay, now these faces are ready, these shutters are ready. Now I'll do this side also and keep it ready. Now I'm just moving forward. After completing the shutters and drawers out on this, I'll just proceed with the rest of the portion. Okay, so you have all the shutters and drawers ready right now on the counter. You can see this. Now what you do is like you give a boolean on top of this to have the hood and hob, and then you have a boolean out here to have the sink. So before that I'm just importing some models on top of this so that you have something to have the dimensions. While importing something which is a Blender file, we just click on link. I'll just click on oven. I'm bringing that oven here. I'm just positioning it, rotating Z direction minus 90, and then I'm just positioning it J in Z direction and G in X direction to make sure that it is in place. Now what you do is like you have to have the topping of this counter. So what you do is like just select this and then give an extrude by 50 mm and then just extrude this portion outside. So select that and this as well and then give extrude with this extrude, the second extrude, and then click and then drag by 50 mm and then make it as offset even. Make sure that it is even so that all the dimensions are equal. If the offset even is not ticked, you have some different dimensions towards the edges. So just click on offset even and then on the tab. So you just have this outside. So this is how we do the topping. And then if you see, just have a look at how it is, the layout. You have the island in the center, you have the counter. Now you have to have one upper cabinet out here, and then you have to give the shutters on this side and some openings on this side as well. And then you have the sink and also the hood and hob on this position. So we'll do that. First I'll just hide this and then we'll go into the sink position as well as the hood and hob position. So while linking, it is the source file will be linked into this file. So I'm just going into some collections, some of my collections which are kitchen items, and then I'm just selecting some hob as well as maybe a sink. I just select the sink first and then I'm just bringing the sink. So sink is ready. Okay, So we have the sink in position. I'll just move it slightly into y direction slightly. Okay, so that is in position. Now I'll just bring the hob as well by linking. Click on another collection. I'll just have the hob and then the collection, and then and then position it. Scale it slightly. G in y direction, just to make sure it is on top. Okay, now the sink is also positioned. You can see the sink, microwave, and the hob is in position. I'll just bring in the hood as well. And what you have to make sure is that this height from the hood to the hob should be around 75 or 750 mm. This position, it should go to C in 750. So this should be height of the height of the hood from the hob. So that is the position, that is the standard dimension. 75 to 80 centimeter, that is the dimension, the gap between the hood and the hob. Okay, now I have to do some booleans. So I have to have a boolean out here to make sure that the sink fits in. Now I'll do a boolean on this. Select that, add a modifier, and then go to boolean, and then click on this, and then apply. Select this and delete it. You have it. Now I'll import the fridge as well, so that it will have a total overall feel. Now there's a slight gap in between this fridge and the top cabin, so I'll just move this and make it the correct fitting. Don't want it, there should be a slight gap, and then I'll just move this as well. So okay, now you have the fridge, the microwave oven, and you have the sink, hood and hob in position, and the base counter is ready. And now we'll do one thing. We'll just create this island portion, finish off this bottom portion, and then we'll go up to model the upper cabin as well as the ceiling. So just go into this, and then I'll just select this face. As I did earlier, I'm just going to shift D, and then I just press escape. Okay, now on this face, I'll just move this edge by 30 centimeter inside. Click on Y and then 30, 300, so that I'll have some openings on this side, and then here I'll be having, if you just click on this side, you can see it's 120. So I'll just have a 30 on this side also. 300 mm towards this side, and then 3 drawers in the center. So I'll just click on this side and just grab it in Y direction, minus 300. So, and then I'll just move this G by 100, and then I'll move this edge by in the Z direction. I'll just move by minus 40. Now I'll just split this. I'll just split this into 3 so that I can have 3 separate drawers out here. I'll move it slightly upwards because I'll have all the cutlery in this, and then the plates in this, and anything else inside this. I'll select this edge and this edge, and then do a bevel edge, and then 3 mm. And then select all these 3 faces, Control I to easily select the small faces, and then delete faces. So these are 3 separate ones. Now I'll just select this, and then extrude in and X direction to 20 mm. So these are the drawers. I'll have 3 booleans out here to make sure that these are cut into 3. Okay, so the boxes are in position. We have to have 3 cuts here and 3 cuts on this side as well. So I'll just make a copy of these, and then Ctrl J to make it 1, and I'll give Shift D and grab it into this position as well. So I'll just cut it by clicking on this, and then I'll click on Boolean so that we have Booleans done. Boolean, and then click on this, and then give a copy, and then remove this, click on this as well, apply, and then remove these two. So you have the splits very neatly done. So you have 3 drawers out here and 3 open spaces on this side as well as this side. Now you have a sink in this position. So in order to do the sink, I am doing a Korean topping. So Korean can be molded inside. So I'm just move it slightly above so that there are no issues. Maybe slightly more, because I'm going to do a bevel. Now I'm going to do a bevel, and then segments as something like this, and I'm going to do a boolean on this. Select this, add modifier, boolean, and then select this, apply, select this, delete. So you have a sink here. Now you have to do a slight beveling on this edge. Right click, bevel edges, and then we have it done. Maybe a 30 mm, and then around a 6. Okay. So it looks like this. Maybe I'll go 25 mm, 20 mm. Yeah, I think it looks fine. We'll add some chairs out here as well. I'll just link some chairs. Maybe a bar chair. Okay, I'll just place 3 of these. I'll click Alt D to get the instance, and then I'll just move it in Y direction. Then Shift R to repeat. So in order to have the upper cabinets, we'll just do one thing. We'll create a box here and then extend it till here. Then we have some open counters on open cabinets out here, and then finish it off with a closed cabinet on this side as well. So just position it. We have to make sure that there is a gap from here till here, should be 60 centimeters. So move these vertices to this position, G and Z, and then snap it. So see, this is 600 mm. So that's ready, 600 mm gap. And then if you see the dimension of this is 1800 mm. And then again extrude in X direction, and then again select this face, extrude by say 1000, and then hit enter. So now if you see this face, it is showing a different dimension. That's because you haven't applied the scale to that. So just apply scale. Now if you measure that, it is 1000 millimeters. Similarly, you have one box out on this side also. So instead of creating a box out there, I'm just selecting these faces and then Shift D, and then in Y direction I'm just snapping it, and then I'm just selecting these faces and then clicking on F to fill it, and I'll just move it just to this position. Just move it in G, Y, and then I'll just move it. So to make sure that the scale is right, again apply scale. Now if you select this edge, you can see it is 713. Make sure it is around 600 so that it is in standard dimensions. So select this, it is 713, so I'll just move it by 113 mm. Just G in Y direction, minus 113. So now this is 60 mm, 600 mm wide, and you have to have some open shelves on this side also. So I'm just taking this box, I'm just shift T and then making it a separate object just to have a separation, selecting this, and I'm just grabbing it to this position. So this is 900, you can see this is 900 mm high, so I just need a 50 mm here. So what I'll do is, like, I'll select this and G in set position, set direction, and make it 850. So I have a 5 centimeter thick, 50 mm thickness, and then I have it on one here also. I'll just Alt D and then I'll just drag it here, and I want one in center. So I'll just grab this, Alt D, and then in Z direction I'll just slightly move and keep it. So you have the open rack here. Now I need the shutters for these. I'll just give some shutters on this side and on this side as well. Now only thing what is left is the ceiling and the flooring, and then we have the windows here along with the curtains, maybe the blinds. So I'll just give the windows now, and then we'll proceed with the ceiling and the flooring. So I'll give the windows. So in order to give the windows, I'm just selecting, just giving a plane here, and then slightly grabbing here and rotate it in maybe X direction 90, Y direction 90. Okay, and then I'll just move it and then select this edge and then move it in this position and move it to this position. Okay, I think I've not positioned any camera in between, so I'll just give a camera in that and then see the view how it is. Okay, so I'll just position a camera, add a camera in, and then what I do is, like, I'll just position it like this and then hit Ctrl Alt 0 so that it positions, and then go to the view and the log camera view, then we'll just move it. So what I do is, like, I select the camera and then I'll just make this camera to 50 mm, just move it, and then also the resolution I'm giving it as 3600 by 2400, which is a print resolution, and then adjusting the position once again. I'm unlocking it and then moving forward. So coming to the Windows part, let's hide the rest of the things by clicking on Shift H, and then when you come to Windows, just go to the edit mode and then click on the face and then give an insert of 60 mm, and then just click on P to separate it. Now A and then extrude to 60 mm. Now coming to the separated mesh, once again we do the same thing, but before that I'm just moving this edge to the center portion of it, grab it and then click on Y direction and then make it to the center. Again we just select the face and then click on insert, and then this time give it a 75 mm, and then again we just separate this. Now select all the faces and then give an extrude. This time it should be around 20 mm, and then click on this and then extrude, say 10 mm. Okay, now this window shutter is ready. Select these two and then Shift D to give a copy and then keep it on this side. Now you can see that this portion, go to the X-ray mode, into the vertex mode, and then move it in the Y direction slightly to the center. Also these two and then do multiple editing, and then select these and click on G, and in Y direction go to the center portion of it. So you have the two window shutters ready. Now select all and then click on M to move it to a new collection called windows. I'll just move this window slightly to, or maybe this one slightly to, in the Y direction to keep it open. Okay, looks better. Now switch off the X-ray mode. So this is the model. So Alt H to unhide everything else. Now I'll just have a sit out. For the sit out, I'll just click add and then click on single vertex once again, and then grab it, extrude, 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 and once again extrude. Click on A, F, and then extrude to -45. So this is the sit out. So we have a sill level here, and then this we'll have a skirting on this area. We'll just move this window. To select all these windows together, you can just click and then select objects inside that collection and then move it in the X direction. Just move it and keep it like that. You have the sit out also ready. I'll just have a small handrail on the side. So we'll just select these edges of the sit out and then make it a handrail. So select these, Shift D and then escape, and then make it a separate selection, and select that, and then G Z, I'll give 900 mm. So that is the height of the handrail. Now what I do is like I'll just select this and then convert it into curve. When you convert it into a curve, what happens is like we have an option to make it a little thick. So just take the thickness a little more. I'll just put it at 40 mm or maybe 35 mm. So you have the handrail. Slightly move it, vertices of this, and then grab it in the Y direction, X direction slightly, and these ones also in G in Y direction slightly. These also grab it in Y direction slightly. So it's slightly inside. Now what we have to do is like we have to create some verticals. So I'll just add a cube and then grab it here. Make the size to say 30 mm. And then maybe the height to around 900, and then grab it. You have the verticals, just grab it slightly inside. Okay, now we'll use array to happen to make all these. So I'll just use the array modifier here. Go to the modifier, go to the array modifier, and then numbers. We have the relative offset as well as just have the relative offset and then the numbers. So that is the sit out. We'll just smoothen this out by right clicking and then giving it a shade smooth. So this is basic sit out. We'll just select all these and click move to new collection handrails. Okay, so that is done. I'll just import link a curtain into this, take set. I'll just move it to the position. Okay, so the blinds are ready. Now before doing what you call the textures and all, I'll just do a simple lighting into this. Before that, I'll just add an environment to this. So coming to the shading, we'll just add an environment to this. So come to the world node and then shift A and then go to the textures and environment texture, and then go to the colors, click open, and then find one of the HDRIs you have. So I'm going to high resolution HDRI. I'm giving in day mode and then clicking on a day HDRI. So that comes in. I'm just clicking on Control T to get the node. And also one thing I'm doing is like I'm just shifting to Eevee, because when you go to the rendering mode, what happens is like it catches up, so we can't adjust the sky in cycles rendering mode. So to have a real-time adjustments, I'm just going into Eevee for the time being. Okay, so this is the sky. We'll see how it is. Okay, so we'll adjust the scale slightly in the C direction and then slightly tilt it. See if there is a good point. Okay, and then rotate it in X direction as well slightly so that it aligns with the position. Just see the camera. Fine. For the time being, I'm just hiding this glass so that I can have a better idea, a better feel of what is happening out there. This looks fine, and then I'll add some plants to this link, and then I'll just go to one of my plant collections and then add that. So go into the plant collection, I'm just plants, and then go to the collections. I have plant 15, link from library, that's kept. Now I think when you see the camera, that looks fine. Now I'll add one or two chairs out here, so I'll just add, go to the link, and then in kitchen kitchen items, I'll go for maybe an exterior armchair collection, and then I'll just link it. That looks fine. So now we have an exterior chair out there. Now we are almost finished with the modeling. Just have to finish the ceiling part and the flooring part, so just finish it off. I'll just add a single vertex to this, and then finish off with the flooring. So I'll just move it in this position and then extrude, 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 and extrude. Click A and then fill. Just to have a thickness, I'll just extrude it to the bottom, just like that. So we have the flow, and now go to the ceiling. I'll just select this, and then I'll just do a Shift D and then have it here, just G in Z direction. We'll give just 3000 millimeters. So it is the ceiling, the roof actually, and then I'll have the cove lighting and this false ceiling below this. So I'll just select this. I'll just select a face of this, and then just click on Shift D to make a copy of that, and then press P to make it a separate plane. So I'm giving a 300 mm gap from the wall, extruded by 100. So you have a gap here in between, and then you have the ceiling. So that's how the ceiling is made by me. And then what I do is like I just unhide everything. You can see the ceiling very well. And so this is how it is. Now I'll cover this top portion so that it doesn't look odd, just like that. So I've covered this ducting, and it's not going inside so much, so that's why I'm given that portion in that way. So now the modeling part is over. So let's start adding some lights into this. So for that we have already given some what you call the environment to this, some HDRI map, and then I'm giving the strength to 2. And then coming to the layout, I'm going to give some area lights to the windows. So I'll just shift A and then add light. So I'll give an area light, and then I'll just click on this and then rotate in Y direction and -90, and then I just position it to the X, the window, G in Y. Okay, so that's what it is, and I'll add one sunlight as well. Add one light as sun and grab it on top. Just move it like this. So it can be in any position, that's not an issue. I'll do one more thing. In order to have a closure out here, I have to give this wall as well. Okay, in the visibility, if you just shift from Eevee to the cycles and see if the visibility is, just go to the objects of this objects context, and then on the visibility, if you go to the visibility, just avoid this camera. So this will not be visible in the camera while rendering. So I'm just hiding it for the time being. Fine. Now some of the materials are missing in this, that's why it is shown as pink, and then we'll give the rest of the materials and finish off this tutorial. Maybe I'll give a steel material to this handrails. So I'll just select glossy BSDF, and then I'll just reduce the roughness to say 0. So we have a steel handrail, and then everything is ready. Fine. I'll have some grass also outside, so a little bit of grass is fine. So I'll just give a plane and then grab it in Y direction, move it slightly down, G, Z, and then scale it to a little extent. And then I'll give a material to this as well. I'll just go to the materials, click on new, and then in the shading mode, I'll just take it to the object, and then I'll just add grass, and then I'm just going to add this grass. So I'll just add the grass, and then to the base color, I'm just adding it. Okay. Now you have the grass. Just have to reduce the specular and then increase the roughness. That gives, and then I'm doing a slight UV mapping to this. So I'm just clicking set and look down mode. Select the face, and then right click UV, smart UV project. Click OK, and then select everything, and then just drag to scale it. It's seen only a little bit, so this is enough. And then what I do is, like, I'll just bring in the materials for these two. So whatever is missing, we'll find it out by using the external data and find missing files, textures, and then I'll find missing files. Okay, I found the materials. That looks fine. Now I have to give some lights on top of the ceiling. So I'll just select this one, and then I'll give a material which is white, and then I'll just reduce specular, increase the roughness, save it, and then make it purely white. Now I have to add one more material to this, which is light. I click on light and then click on new, make this as an emission, and then I'm just converting this to have to be something like, say, 20, and then if you see the preview, this light is there, so maybe a 50. Now let's give a render and then see how it looks initially. So it's getting rendered. Let's wait for the render. Okay, now it looks nice, but the only thing is like in these glasses the light is not passing in. So to fake that, we have to make these exclude from the shadows so that the light passes inside. And also there is some light burns out here. The light above this is slightly high, and we'll have some ceiling lights and the hanging lights and stuff like that. We'll have one faucet out here for this wash basin, and then some props inside. So props I'll not be modeling, I'll be just placing it from my previous works, and then give the rest of the materials and finish it off. So coming to this shadow part, we'll just close the render and then see what can be done. So I'll just select this and go to this render out layout, and then click on this, and in the materials, I mean the object context, come to shadows, and then in the visibility tab just switch off this shadow, and then on this also just switch off the shadow. Let's save it, and then we'll just see how it looks. So it looks neat and clean. Just see the blinds, the light is passing through the translucent surface, and then you have very good shadows out here coming through the glass. We'll close the render output and just adjust slightly this light on top, and then we'll give the materials of different things, and then have the final render along with the ceiling lights and hanging lights and the faucets and everything else together. So we'll just reduce the value of this light slightly by going to the materials and then make it as say 30, and then I think the environment is also having some, so I'll just make it as 5 and I'll just save it. Now what I'll do is like I'll just slightly tilt this light so that you'll have nice shadows. What you can get by changing the light is that you get the shadows slightly slanting, so that looks much better in the view. Now coming to the shading part, I'll just give all these parts as white itself, white glossy material. So I'll just give white material and then slightly white. Just see the preview on this. We'll make the specular and then roughness slightly reduced so that we have a glossy feel on this. And then what we do is like we select all these which need to be white, and then click this, the last one, Control L, and then materials. So you can see the reflections right away. So now the rest of the things we'll give as black. So new material, and then I'll just make it as slightly black, and then this is the kind of feel I'm looking at. Slightly more specular, roughness slightly more, kind of matte finish, and then these, and then I'll click on this and then Control L, and then we give that material. Looks nice. I'll select these as well and then click on this, Control L, and then materials. The top portion of this as white, so I'll just select those. Select only those portions, and then I'll give another material, and that will be the glossy material which I give for this one. So I'll just select this and make this material as glossy white, and then select this and give that material as glossy white, and then assign it on top of this as well. Okay, so Now we have all the white materials on top toppings, and then I'll just unhide everything else. Looks fine. I'll just add the faucet here. Link, and then kitchen items, and faucet 3, and then collection link from library slightly in my direction. Looks nice. Okay, this also materials, that's just black. Now I have to give a material to the wall of this part, and then a light here, and then the flooring. So first I'll give the flooring. I think I'll give a wooden material to the flooring. So I'll just select this and then go to the materials. Now coming to the flooring part, I'll give a wooden flooring to this so that it looks neat. So coming to this, I'm just going to give a material to that. Going to come to the shading part, and then in the materials I'm just going to give one of these materials. So I'll just give this and see how it is. It looks neat. What I'll do is I'll just select this face, and then coming to the UV editing mode, right click and then smart UV project. Click OK, and then you just give it a slice scaling, and in Y direction just scale it a bit in Y direction so that not much of this is scaled. Okay, and now coming to the materials, just reduce the specular, increase the roughness, and we'll do one more thing. In order to get the textures of this, I'll go into GIMP and then have a normal bump map for this. So I'll just go and open that wood material in GIMP and export as, and then give it as, I'll give it as wood.bump map export. And then what we do is just go to the colors, make it desaturated, and click OK, and then come to the levels and slightly increase the black and white value so that it gives a little more depth to that, and then click extrude. Now coming to the materials of Blender, just go to the shading and then Shift D to give a copy, and then Shift A, and then you just have a normal bump map out here, and then add the color of this to the height of it, make this non-color, and then add this normal to the normal. So you have the bump value maybe 0.2. To see the preview, just click here. You can see the preview here. Now we'll just have a look at the ceiling lights. In order to have this ceiling lights, what we have to do is just go to the modeling part and then add a light here. So I'll just right click, shift right click to bring the cursor here, and then add a plane, and then make it say 150. So the size of GYGX, and then go to the edit mode, select that, extrude by 2 mm, and then give an insert by 3 mm or maybe 5 mm, and then give one more extrude, and then click Ctrl I and then give that white material to that, assign, and then one more Ctrl I and then you give a light material. So just add a light material to that by emission, and give this value around 15 and then assign. So it's a light now. We'll add around 4 of these lights. So along with this we'll add one area light as well. So in order to do that, I'm just adding, I'm clicking here, shift, and then add mesh, light, and then an area light, and then the size should be something like 150, and then G in C direction, and that's it. And then shift select this and this, and then what you do is like duplicate this in instance, so that once you change this, along with that everything, all the values will change in instance. Now go to Y and then give a replica of that, select this and this as well, and then one more Alt D, and then in X direction just move it and place it. So you have 4 lights, and then one more thing which is pending is like a hanging light on top of it, and then some props I'll be adding in. I'll link a light into this, the hanging light. So I'll just go into the lights collection and this collection, and then link from library. You have the light, scale it a bit, looks nice. I have one here. Then I'll give a ball inside this. I'll add a sphere into this, geosphere, maybe a UV sphere, and then the radius can be 150, maybe 75, and then slightly move it inside. Put it in the center, select these two, and then Alt D, and in Y direction I just put 1 and then 2. So there are 3 lights in this. Now I'll just click on this box, sphere, and then I'll just give material, which is again an emission material. I'll just put an emission, and then I'll just make this strength to around, say this should be 50, and then a warm light. What else is pending? I have to have this dado tile, so I'll just go and have the dado tile. I'll bring this here and then add mesh plane, rotate in X direction 90, rotate in Z direction 90, and then I'll make this size. If you go to the view and then item and then see, I'll just make it as 600 by 600, and then just move it to the edge, and then go to the tab and then extrude by, say, minus 10 mm. Now select this face, extrude it up till here, and then extrude it again to this corner, extrude. Okay, so you have this here. I'll just add it in this point also. Just select this and then extrude to this point. Now I have to give a material for this, so I'll just select that and then add a material, and then into shading, and then I'll just add a marble material, something similar. I'll just select this, take it here, and then add it to the base color. Keep the specular high, roughness low, and then see the preview. Yeah, the preview is here. So roughness is low, and then if you see, yes, see, this is the material. So just select this portion, this portion, this portion, this portion, and then right click, UV, unwrap, click OK, and then go to the UV editing mode, select all, and then slight increase. Same thing I'll do here also. Select these, right click, UV, unwrap in smart UV project, click OK, select it, and then scale. That's what it is. So now we will do a test render and see how the output is. So we'll go to the camera view and then click a save, and then give an F12. We'll wait for the render and see how it is. Let's see, some other material can be given. So I'll go to wood, and then yeah, looks neat. Editing, I'll just select this face and then scale it. Yeah, that looks too boring, so I'll just select Autocad and save it once again, render. So after some renders, we have got a pretty good render. Now I'll give the lights below this, the dado, the task lighting, and then we'll adjust this shadow a bit by adjusting the light, and then we'll add some items out here and in these places, and then finish off the render. In order to give the light, I am just clicking here, and then I'm going to add light and then area light, make it rectangular instead of square. I'm making it rectangle, and then adjusting the X to this position and Y in very thin way. So we have it ready, the lights, and then we have to add some more lights. I'll just add an area light and then make it into elliptical, and then 150, and then see in Z direction in the center of this as well. So let's just have it. So I've added all the props now. Now let's give the handle to all the places, and then finish off with the final render of this and this, and then shift H to hide everything else, and then in this we'll just have a profile handle for all
all the places. So in order to have that, we'll just have to create a profile. So I'll just click here and then add a single vertex, and then I'll just move it above. I'll create a G profile. Direction. E and X direction. Just select these G and Z direction. I'll move this as well as G in Z direction. Have thickness for this, or maybe I'll just select this and have the thickness. The thickness is different in this. And then I'll just select this and do some beveling. AF. That gives the profile. Now just go G and then snap it here. 3 and then select the face, extrude. So this material matching this one. G in C direction. G. Okay, so I've given all the handles. Okay, it looks nice. I'll add 1 or 2 items out here as well, like spoons and stuff, and then finish off the render. It's cool now. Okay, I think it looks fine. Only thing is I'll just extend this LEDs to here, so, to a final touch, and then I'll just go to the edit tab, select this face, and then grab it to this end. I think we'll do one more thing, to select this one and then go to this modifier and then give a bevel of 10 millimeter and maybe 5 segments, maybe a 5 millimeter with 5 segments. Also for this, and bevel with 5 millimeter with 5 segments. This one, and it looks neat and clean. I'll just move this slightly here and there. It's not to be aligned. In X direction, maybe rotate in X direction. Just move slightly in this direction, and maybe rotate in like that. I think it's fine. So let's do a final render on this along with all the corrections and changes required. Now it's ready. Now let's do the final render. So save it and then click on F12 to do the final render.
So the final rendering is over now. We'll save this file, give it as a save, and then just change this into the JPG or whichever format you like. If you like this tutorial, kindly give us a thumbs up, and please do subscribe our channel and click on the notification link to get further tutorials. Thank you.